again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's up, Broncos country? Welcome to another episode of Bourbon, Broncos No BS. My name is Kevin, and I'm here with Jared, David, Rob. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Of course, we're going to break down the heartbreaking loss. Broncos lose to the Seahawks 17-16 on the road in a very heartbreaking loss. But you know what? Week one. Jared, are we mathematically eliminated?
No, I was actually looking for my my Abathur, and I couldn't find. I couldn't find it. Yeah,
but so I shouldn't be panicking, right?
It's fun to watch him like think up names for it he hasn't tried to use yet.
See, what sounds like abacus?
Right, he knows what it's called, but now he's got to try and entertain us and impress us.
It's like you combined abacus and catheter or something.
I'm running out of AA names. I'm just going to start saying ridiculous things here soon.
Well, I know what it is.
I gotta find that cat.
Yes. Well, hey guys, post your comments. Post your questions. We got Cody in here. Cody is super happy being a Seahawks fan. Thanks for joining us on the show yesterday, Cody. Glad you're here. Mr. Clayton, evening, guys. Smash that like button and share on the way. That's exactly what I need you all to do. Yeah, and like I said, post your comments, post your questions. We're here to talk about or talk with you about last night's game. We're only going to spend about half the show on that. That's normally what we do here on Tuesdays before we say enough of that. It is time to move forward to week two. So let's spend a little bit of time and everyone watching. I know there's a lot of anger, frustration. I think it's just from so much buildup leading into the week one that everyone's like, I can't believe, such a letdown. But there was so much good in the game as well. So I get it was ugly. I get there were a lot of mistakes, 12 penalties, the fumbles. Well, we'll talk all about it. But Jared, I'll hand it off to you first, man. Like, what are your thoughts this Tuesday?
So many thoughts, but I'm going to start with this one. It's not the end of the world because there's a lot of great things to take out of this game. I know on the win-loss column it looks like an L because it is. However, couple big things. We didn't let up any yardage or scores in the second half. So our defense really started stepping up in the second half. Part of that was because the offense had the ball for the majority of the time in the second half. We are driving well. I think if we were to kind of pinpoint our problems on this team right now, it's definitely red zone. I think that one of our biggest problems is definitely the fact that for some reason we don't have a strong package, like a strength package to put on the 1 yard line, or if we need 1 yard. I don't know why we don't have that. We have our base four receivers out there.
Yeah.
But ultimately, look, we didn't give up any points in the fourth quarter. We didn't really let them drive anywhere. So our defense was playing better. Our defensive adjustments were much better because the first half, like we did the halftime hash, and man, we made Geno Smith look like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen out there in the first half. But in the second half, we did a pretty good job. Bradley Chubb got back there a couple times, a good couple sacks and a strip.
Huge sack in the fourth quarter there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things to see here. Unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of luck on a few things, but that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Definitely. You didn't say one name. I thought you would, but I'm going to give it over to David and see if he has a chance to say the name that I'm thinking.
I'm sure we'll go real in depth about that here at some point today. Those are my initial reactions.
This is a good thing. Good thing. It's good. Yeah. No. I want to hear.
So the name I have for it to start with is Geno Smith. And I want to kind of really, because Jared, you were talking about how much of a tale of two halves it really was. And I definitely agree with that. How many passing yards do you guys think Geno Smith had to end the night? Just off the top of your head, make a guess.
I'm 195.
Okay.
I'm cheating at 195 because he's also cheating and looking at the stats.
So you guys have ruined this exercise by cheating.
Yes.
I
admitted it.
Yeah. It was 195 yards. And I was really, really kind of surprised to see that when I looked it up. I thought it would probably be in the neighborhood of 250 to 275 just based on how that first half was going. There were, it was a lot of short passes, but they were turning into chunk plays because of broken tackles. We were talking about the penalties. That doesn't go into Geno Smith's stats, obviously. But when I saw that 195 final stat line, I was a little surprised, and I think it really spoke to how much the Broncos clamped down in the second half. I don't know, Kevin, about the name you're trying to.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to pass it over to Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob, share your thoughts and see if you're going to say the name that I'm thinking.
All right, so the name that I'm going to start with, and I don't want to piss anybody off, but for the love of God, Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
For the love of God, Melvin Gordon. Yes. I see you, Jared. I see you. I was extremely, extremely frustrated with him fumbling at the 1 yard line yet again. But it's okay. I've gotten over it. And, to Jared's point, there is a lot of good things to take away from this game. You got to give Hackett I don't want to say a pass, but you got to give him a little bit. I mean, it's his first, head coaching professional game in Seahawks, territory where it's ridiculously loud. And after the game, they did an interview with Shelby Harris, and I guarantee he was the driving force behind that defense on the goal line just to prove a point. He was pissed that he got traded, and you know what? Rightfully so. But at the end of the day, we should have put the ball in Russ's hands. We should not have tried to rely on Brandon McManus. Not that I'm saying he's not capable of kicking that field goal, but when you pay Russell Wilson the kind of money that we paid him, put the ball in his hands and let's get 6 yards. Javante Williams around the outside should have been an easy game. But, I digress, and looking forward to the next week. See what happens. See how they bounce back.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of comments going on here, and I definitely want to get to all of them. A lot of comments revolving around not only the fumbles, but the end of the game. We will get to that. Before I kind of say the name that I was thinking, really quickly, Clayton, once again, coming in with the stars, supporting us here at Orange Weekly. 2 days in a row, man. 2 days in a
Appreciate
row.
It.
No,
Love
yeah.
Thank
Love it, bud. Appreciate it. And everybody who's watching, appreciate that support. Hit that share button for us, guys. But here's the thing, guys. Yes. Where was that comment I just saw? Boys were rusty. It was a sloppy game. It looked like we didn't play in the preseason, which we didn't, right? So I'm not totally surprised. There's a lot of good things to still talk about in this game, especially when we're talking about what the potential of this team has.
Let's talk about the rust. Let's talk about the slop.
Hold on.
Let's talk about the bad stuff first.
Let's. I want to set the tone.
Because I think we can.
No, we're getting there.
No, I think we can set the tone by talking about the slop.
Getting there.
Because I think
Let's get it out of the way.
I don't want no roller coaster of emotions. Let's start slow. Let's start in the negative, and then we'll launch.
Start low and go.
Launch into the rest of the season.
Okay.
Well, because I think the rust is a really good way to transition. Because it was a rusty half. I'll grant. I can't argue with anybody that says that we were rusty in that first half. It was sloppy. It was undisciplined. They looked like they hadn't played in the preseason. All of that. But I really think that on both sides of the ball, a lot of that had been ironed out by the second half. I think everybody got on the same page offensively, but defensively especially. I just, I think it's. I'm more encouraged, honestly, to see them iron out those issues over a half of football than over an entire game, even if you're playing in one of the most hostile environments in the entire league.
Yeah, and a big piece of this is specifically with the new coaching staff. I mean, look, there was some play calls, there were some things. I think Rob hit it on the head. Nathaniel Hackett, this is his first time. It's hard being an offensive coordinator and a head coach at the same time. We talked about it on the pregame podcast. We talked about it last week. Like, that was one of the things I was looking at, and a lot of people are giving him crap for that call on the 4th and 5. Honestly, in that situation, right? Hindsight's 20/20. You give it to Russell Wilson, but how well was Russell Wilson doing up to that point to begin with? And we know there's nothing downfield. And I will say this: I don't want to be negative because we'll launch after this, right? But Russell Wilson, while he by the way, oh yeah, here we go. Here's funny. What was Russell Wilson's pass percentage?
69.
69. All right.
Giggity.
Nah.
Outside of that, all right, he did have 340 yards and he was throwing it decently well. It was a lot of short stuff, which I was a little bit, right? We had the big long pass. Even the touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy was behind him. The DB had to pass him. The DB had to pass him, and then he had to pass him again to go. Like, so he didn't lead him. There was a couple deep shots that I was like, this isn't the deep shot Russell Wilson that we're used to. There was some back shoulder throws out. I know one of them was planned because of the pass interference. There was a couple ones that he had him beat by a couple steps and didn't lead him out there. We didn't really take a lot of shots downfield. I remember specifically a play, I think Cortland Sutton caught one over the middle for 10, and he was wide open like the whole time in the window, and he just wasn't looking at him until he finally had enough time to come back after all of his reads were done. So I think once Russell starts getting the system, now that he's been playing not just in practice but in game time, I think it'll slowly start to come. I'm not even expecting him to be 100% by next week, but eventually, in the next 3 to 4 weeks, he's gonna get they're gonna be on the same page. They're gonna get that down, and maybe those balls are delivered a little bit better. He's got guys like Jerry Jeudy who can make some ridiculous plays if he gets him the ball that way.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
think
Jared,
ahead,
David.
Go ahead.
Jared, to your point, he had no interceptions. Denver led in almost every single statistical category when you look including with the no interceptions. But when you literally look at side by side, Seattle only led in 6. We led in everything else. On paper, we should have won. But again, it goes back to sloppy play and, for the love of God, penalties. And I give Garrett Bowles a little round of applause. He only had 1 penalty. I'm proud of him. And it wasn't holding. It was not holding.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I thought he had a couple. I thought he had 2. He had 1 early, and then he had the one where he wasn't on the line.
1 wasn't accepted. They didn't accept 1.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there was the one that he wasn't on the line, right? I think that was the one.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't lined up properly. But yeah, and it's going to take a little more time, Jared. To your point, I think we saw a little bit of an answer to at least one question last night, which is whose offense is this? Is it Nathaniel Hackett's offense or is it Russell Wilson's offense? I think it's both. I really think you saw concepts of both in there. I think you saw a lot of what Russell Wilson liked to do with more slow developing plays that he has to stand in the pocket. Or if the pocket collapses, he gets flushed out and makes a play. But we saw a ton of the screen game. We saw Hackett trying to get the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands quickly at times, which is not something Russell Wilson has done in the past. And for the most part, that screen game was really successful. And we can talk about the screen on that final drive when Graham Glasgow just had lead in his feet. I don't know what was going on.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
The hat on that hat, Javante Williams is still running. But that, we don't have to talk about that. We're moving past that. Anyway, it was, like we've been saying, just a lot of encouraging stuff when these two philosophies come together the way I think they intend it to. The offense could really be humming by the end of the season.
And here's where else we saw it. Here's where else we saw it. And I completely forgot about this point. How many delay of game penalties do we have?
Mm-hmm.
And that combination of Hackett, and there was a couple that were close that we ended up calling timeouts on. Yep. But there was a couple, like, you could really tell that the Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson play calling is still in development because it was taking forever for plays to get out there and lined up. And then by the time they're lined up, he's got no time to call audibles if he wants it.
Yeah. Well, then he's having to repeat himself 2-3 times in the huddle. Right. So the huddle's taking
or on the line
longer.
Right. I remember I remember a couple plays where he's out there trying to call audibles, and even Jerry Jeudy in the slots wait, what? like even the linemen are coming back. Like, hold on, say that again. Like, are you like? You could tell he had to go back and forth multiple times.
Yeah, I believe I read on Twitter today that Javante Williams' fumble was due to an audible that he called at the line that not every player heard. So a couple of the players were playing a different play, which is why that play got blown up in the backfield. So interesting stuff there. But yeah, I think it's just like we've been saying this whole time, more positives to take away from this game than negatives. Now let's steer into it, because I think Drake's comment here should at least transition us into the final play. And no, I don't agree with you, Drake. I like
no hard pass.
I like thinking outside the box here, and I like Rodrigo Blankenship, and I like his story, but I'm not ready to make McManus a punter, which I don't think he's ever done in his career. Just because he couldn't nail a 64-yard kick in the ozone layer that is Seattle.
Right.
A kick that had the distance. There was a lot of process failures that went into Brandon McManus even making that kick. And I think Nathaniel Hackett talked a lot about them today. Not just the personal failure on his part to not go for it in that situation, which to his credit he acknowledged, but the failures in the red zone, which Jared, you were mentioning, and clearly irked him too. And also what we just talked about, the Javante Williams screenplay on that drive that got blown up for a 4-yard loss on 2nd and 10. So yeah, where do you guys think the blame lies ultimately here? Is there just some to go around on every tight end who was a foot out of bounds or just barely didn't make a catch in the red zone? Or is it on Melvin Gordon and Javante Williams for each having a red zone fumble?
It's tough.
Everybody has to take a little bit here and move on?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's tough. You always talk about it is the team concept, right? There were times where, look, we, by all accounts and purposes, you give somebody the stats of the game without the score, they're going to say the Broncos won, duh, right? So the team, especially in the second half, really turned things around. Russell Wilson, holy crap, like for it being a rough game for him, that was still pretty good. You think about what he's going to be in the future. Anyway, you can talk about all of that, and what kept running through my head all day today was, man, as upset as people are today, what if that kick was 10 feet more to the right? We would all be praising Hackett of making that decision.
Yep.
We would all say this was the greatest hire the Broncos have had in years. That was a great decision, because what if we went for it on 4th down and we didn't get a chance, or what if they did go for it on 4th down and something happened and they were short and they didn't get a chance to kick? We'd all be sitting here saying, or some people would be saying, why don't we try to for the field goal and just get the points, right? So anyway, it's tough to say where the exact failure was. I appreciate Hackett coming out there saying, hey, we should have gone for it. I'll just tell you that right now. That's exactly how he started his press conference. So did he make a decision? Yes. Was it a good decision? Probably no. Is it a decision that he's going to learn from moving forward? And I fully expect him to kind of change his methods and his thinking process in those situations, for sure. Now, if we see this pop up again and again and again, we got a problem. First time game, first time head coach. Okay, I'm going to give you a mulligan. So, Jared, you look frustrated, but me, I'm not panicked. I'm not going to throw too much blame just on one person.
Look, it's great for us to sit here on the couch and watch it and say he made a terrible choice. This is all Hackett's fault. It's easy to say that. But we were 0 for 2 on 4th downs.
Yep.
Russell Wilson knew the situation on 3rd and I think it was 8, threw a short ball to only get a couple yards, right? And he ran the clock down because he didn't want to give them a chance to get the ball back, and just in case we did make it. And I guarantee he went to McManus and was like, can you make this? And then McManus was like, yeah, I can make this. Because guess what? Last year, 2 years ago, remember how frustrated McManus was inside the 50 for not giving it to him to give the game in his hands? Mm-hmm. And now in this situation, he's looking at, okay, we suck on 4th down. Russell Wilson knew the situation going into the 4th down. He couldn't get the ball downfield for whatever reason. And like, what are my options here? Like, we can win the game right now. Let's let the clock tick down. Now, granted, you're right. Maybe he does learn from the situation. Maybe he's like, okay, I need to get a little closer. But he trusted his kicker and he made a guts call. And we can't roast the guy for it and say that, that was a terrible coaching decision. That wasn't a terrible coaching decision. There's a lot worse coaching decisions that could really go down there. And if we sit here and try to judge the dude for making a call with the numbers that he had, right now he knows, okay, I should probably get a little closer, right? Yeah. But I think overall, the general, if that was 10 yards closer, right, and he lets that clock tick down, doesn't use his timeouts, you're like you said, Kev. If he makes that, it's the best, right? Everybody's praising him. I'm too hungover and sad. Everybody's praising him. Now, look, I do think penalties. A lot of things killed us in this game. We should not have been trying to kick the ball on that last play. We should have been up by 3 scores. Yeah, but. Sure. Situation. And then, David, to your point, too, who do we blame on this? It's an all-around thing, and I think this goes back to the new coaching staff and new quarterback, right? Like you said, Russell Wilson makes an audible that not everybody heard, and that leads to a fumble. Now, granted, he should have held on to the ball, but it was a 4th down anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. Melvin Gordon fumbling the ball trying to get in. Where were the blocks? Right? Yeah. Like, where was the time for him? Right? Where was it? Even if he didn't fumble the ball, he gets tackled there. And he doesn't make it. Like, you saw it on both sides of it. Now, granted, ball security is a huge thing, and we need to get that. But I don't think blaming a singular person on this. This is a team effort on all across the board. Everybody has a little blame to play in this, and we move on from it, and we get better. And I don't remember who it was. I don't know. You guys can correct me if I'm who it was, but somebody on the Broncos said they felt better after this loss than they did being 3-0 a couple years ago. Like, they feel better about this team right now after one loss than they did when they were 3-0 a couple years ago. I'd give you that. That plays big. That plays big. And it's just you clean up some of the small stuff and we move on. But I don't want to roast Hackett because I think he with the situation and the statistics he had in his head from that game, he made a call and he was wrong on it, right? And saying like, oh, the worst call, give it to. We were paying Russ whatever million. Yeah, we're paying Russ whatever million to make that on the 3rd down and get the ball down there too. And he didn't. He couldn't do it because whatever situation, whatever the case was, right? So give it to him. Yeah. You got to give him the credit. He made a call. It didn't work out. That sucks. We move on. But he definitely was not the worst coaching call ever.
And go ahead, Rob.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, and real quick, and then I will toss it over to Rob. I think, Jared, to your point, like, they talked about it, and Coach Hackett said today the plan was if they hit the 46-yard line, it was to give McManus a shot, and that was the plan they had going into the game. And I guarantee you it's because McManus was in his ear all training camp, all summer, all practice, and showing
because what happened with the coach before
and showing him every single day, I can kick it from 65. And he was probably nailing those 65-yarders in practice. So he probably gave Hackett every reason to believe that was his actual range on game day. Now we know a little better. That's all.
Now we know a little bit. Plus, that was in Colorado, not out there in Seattle.
Exactly.
Hey, so Rob, what you got?
Yeah, Rob.
No, I was just gonna say, I agree with everything you guys have been saying. The blame is a collective, unit that goes, to go around. But I believe that Brandon McManus made that kick. Should have made that kick, I should say. I think everybody on one side of the stadium all took a deep breath and just blew at the same time, and I think that's why it missed. But we'll save that for the conspiracy theorists later.
Seattle is, I think, again, one of the few stadiums where that could actually, I think, happen.
And in Colorado, in Denver, he makes that kick, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, guaranteed.
You know what I mean?
He wasn't short. He was just left.
He was just left a little bit. Yeah.
Wide left. Yeah.
So I'll say this, Steve, and I know you're being blame game here, right? I don't think we got out coached. We got out coached in the first half, and I think this goes back to here, right? We didn't prep for the stadium. I think
they were pumping
our
in not only
prep.
Loud music. Okay, not loud, not preseason, but during this game. To answer that comment, loud music, loud stadium sounds during practice this last week to include booze. So they were trying at least, but.
Well, but I will say you have a new quarterback and a new system in Seattle. So did Russell Wilson probably could have given us a little. I'm sure he gave a little bit of like what the offense has to offer. But you have a new quarterback and they're probably game planning against our defense, which he probably doesn't remember. And then, I don't think we got outcoached in the second half. I think we made the better halftime adjustments, which I think for the last 3 head coaches, this is the first time we can say that we made the halftime adjustments to be able to stop something in the second half, as opposed to just getting demolished and then making no halftime adjustments. So I don't think we got outplayed. And yes, did we get outplayed by a backup quarterback? Again, in the first half, we were absolutely put. I think part of that is on the preseason prep. Right? Nobody played preseason. Rashad Penny looked like he was bouncing off of us like he was the beast mode.
Yeah.
Like
missed tackles.
We couldn't tackle to save life.
But I think even in that second half, that cleaned up too. Like the tackling got better. I thought it did. It didn't get all the way there. There was a couple of times where Geno Smith.
There was still a couple shoulders thrown.
But even that improved too. So go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, and then just to follow on, Steve, with what you said, if we start off 0-2, whose fault is then? Again, we look at the tape. Like, look, man, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, if we start 0-2, Nathaniel Hackett needs to get fired. I'm not on that train, man. Like, let's give the guy's young. Guy's a first-time head coach, a young head coach trying to call offense and head coaching is very difficult in the NFL, and it's going to come. And it's not like this game. This game was 16-7. We didn't get blown out 35-0. No. Like, if we got blown out 35-0, then, like, let's bring that up. If we go 0-2, whose fault is it? Like, maybe we start talking. This was a close game we should have won. And like Rob said, we won in every category, including penalty yards.
One we should win.
and really, we should have won that game. The call on the 4th and 1, and again, statistics say 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line, you just go for it. And the play calls, maybe? Okay, now, again, the difference between play calls and coaching mistakes are two separate things, and I tried to argue this with John the other day. I don't think he got it, but there's a difference between coaching mistakes and play call mistakes, because we got to keep those separate. But yeah, those play calls were pretty bad. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I think
like how don't we have a goal line package? I just don't understand. I
mean, shotgun run twice.
No goal line. Like we weren't even under center. Like no. Goal line package, dude.
Go under center. Well, okay. Listen, we could.
Russell Wilson's 4'0", so he can't fall forward very far.
There won't be any quarterback sneaking. That's not going to be. But well,
only if we had Brock Osweiler.
Hey, you know who was really good at dealing with loud noises was Peyton Manning with his audible, with the gestures. Like, why doesn't why? Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's a GIF. Okay, I use it at work all the time. Why doesn't Russell Wilson take a page out of Peyton Manning's book and have some sort of hand gestures for for plays or routes or something? I think that's something that that Russell Wilson and Hackett will get together and maybe implement that in the next. We still got the Chiefs to play. That's a loud fucking stadium to play in. A loud stadium. So and again. It wasn't a conference game. It was an out of conference game. It sucks to lose, especially to his former team and to Geno Smith or the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. But like Peyton Manning said, the Broncos are going to be just fine. Everything will be okay. Everybody take a collective breath and let's move on to Houston.
I needed that.
Did you guys see the meme? Did you guys see the meme of the? It was like, man, what a time to be alive. We're watching some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and it was like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Geno Smith. Did you guys?
I didn't see that. No, I did not see that. I'm glad I did not see that. But I will tell you, I thought it was funny. That moment of peace from Peyton Manning at the end of that game, that everything was going to be okay, because I was feeling pretty low, and his calm, soothing voice picked me up and said, there will be wins this season, Broncos country. They're going to win again.
Did you guys realize when, especially at the end of the game, he's like, we need to take a timeout here. We need to do this. We need to do that. He kept saying we, and it was like, it's so, I loved it. So just good to hear Peyton Manning refer to the Broncos as we. He is one of us. He is one of us.
He spent so much time in Indianapolis, and he is 100% a Bronco for life. Like he's almost completely forgot about.
He's not going to say we. He's not going to say we.
Did you see? You saw him when he said, "If the Broncos win a Super Bowl, does that mean I get to go down on the field next time?" And Shannon said, "Yeah, you can do that for the Colts too." And Peyton just didn't say anything. He's
like, "Okay,
yeah."
I mean, I could, but
I could, but won't. Should maybe, but short.
Hey, Zach, thanks for hopping on. Even though you're a Bills fan, glad to have you on the show, man. As a Bills fan, I really hope you guys go on a tear in your division. Let the AFC West eat themselves alive. Agreed. Appreciate the comments from you. And Clay and the awesome love from you guys as well. Appreciate it. Hey, good things, though. One name we have not mentioned yet at all.
I'm still confused at where you're getting with this. Yeah.
Yes, DK Metcalf had 7 catches for only 36 yards.
Yeah.
He shut down one of the top wide receivers in the league.
And
okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
my
what.
favorite.
Beast.
Go ahead, Jared.
My favorite play the whole time, and I mentioned it at the halftime hash. My favorite play of that whole game was when Metcalf tried to stiff arm and push him away for the hitch, and lost like 8 yards. First of all, he ran backwards, dumbass. But he tried to catch the hitch and tried to push past Surtain off. He backed up like 1 step and was on him.
Yeah.
And he got the catch, but it ended up being for like 8-yard loss because the rest of the guys. But it was like he tried to out physical him. He tried to get bigger than him, and I think there's one time he boxed him out. There was one time I saw a legit box out that Pat Surtain lost it because it was a great throw by Geno Smith, but it was a great throw and he boxed him out. But like you said, 37 yards. Yeah. Like you shut the guy down. There are fantasy people that got DK Metcalf thinking he was going to be as good as he was with Russell Wilson that are mad.
And I mean, honestly, I think they should be encouraged just to see that he and Geno Smith do have chemistry. Because I was, I was a little disappointed at first at what I thought was DK Metcalf's success. But you're right. When you dig into those numbers, yeah, he was making catches, but there was no yards after the catch. And I know we all wanted Pat Surtain's, all-pro season to begin with a pick 6 or something like that. That's just, it's not realistic, guys. He didn't have 4 pass breakups. He allowed some catches. And yeah, he got out-physicaled at the catch point 1 or 2 times during this game, but he didn't allow his receiver to get free. He made a tackle right where the catch was made, and he was sticky in coverage. He did not get fooled by route running. He did not get shoved off by, one of those wide receiver half push-offs that they get away with that, they don't extend the whole arm, but a guy like DK Metcalf only needs half his arm anyway because he's freaking huge. There was none of that. It was a really impressive performance by Surtain.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, our secondary held, Tyler Lockett to only 28 yards as well. Lockett's usually their equivalent to our KJ Hamler, where he's just flying down the field and getting the long ball every time. Their top receivers were their 2 tight ends. Those are the only ones that scored a touchdown for them. And, Jared, I know what you're going to say. ILB crap, bro.
Yeah,
ILB crap, bro.
ILB crap. All right. They scored 1 touchdown. They scored 17 points altogether. And let me look at their rushing yards for the game here.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I got it here. Rushing yards were total of 76. Yeah.
76.
Yeah, all
yards
over the middle. Yeah. There was nothing on the outside. All over the middle.
Okay,
just
Jared,
straight up the. They didn't need to go to the outside because it was working on the middle.
76 yards,
and it was working.
Is a recipe for success.
Yeah. Well, we also had what was our time of possession? Our time of possession also controlled them the whole time. Also, they got
what you did, Rob.
They got 7.
Look what you did.
They had 36%. Well, I'll push on from that. I'll get to that in a minute. Inside, everything was inside. Everything was successful. Everything that they did successfully was on the inside the 2 tackles.
Great.
Everything.
Great. So what?
Both touchdowns.
And everything we did successful was outside the 2 tackles.
The second touchdown at the very least was a blown coverage that was on the safety, not the linebacker. The inside crap with the running.
No, we tried to put what's his name? Griffith was man on man.
It's not,
and he got burned.
We're going back to the tape on this one, Jared.
I'll go to the tape. The second touchdown. I remember watching it and being like, "Why on earth are we putting Griffith man on the tight end? Like this is awful." Like he read it beautifully.
Coverage. He was supposed to have help over the top. The coverage was a blown assignment. It didn't happen.
So you're blaming Justin Simmons.
If Justin Simmons was, I'm either blaming Justin Simmons or Jawan Williams. It's one of those two.
All right.
Anyway,
instead of blaming our lack of inside linebacker depth, inside linebackers in general, who could have also filled some of those gaps. Also, how many rushing yards did Geno Smith have over the middle? that nobody
But
was tracking.
That was because of poor tackling, not because of there weren't any linebackers there to stop him.
Yeah, you know, it'd be
That's
really good if we
why
had a
it's
good
only
inside
6 yards.
linebacker that could tackle well.
76 holding an opposing offense to 76 yards rushing is good. What universe are you in where this is bad?
It's great when we have like 50 minutes of time of possession.
Okay,
it's great.
Time out. I'm gonna change the subject. Did anybody see the?
I was gonna change it here in a minute.
The headlock hold that Garrett Bowles got away with. Did anybody see the picture of that? Garrett Bowles literally has this dude in a chokehold, and it didn't get
Yeah, that
called.
tracks.
I mean,
that tracks.
if you don't get called, he didn't hold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Here's what I'll say though. Of their 19 first downs, 36% of them, over a quarter of their first downs were on penalties because of penalties.
There you go.
Seven of their 19 first downs were because of our faults.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
self-inflicted.
That's almost half. You got to get that cleaned up.
You gotta clean that up.
That's
Now I don't agree with the taunting call. That's a personal opinion, but it's an NFL
personal
rule.
opinion, and that's fine.
That's-
And I think we're all basically on the same page about that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, Jason said something that made a lot of sense. That's been a rule for a while now. Like
Yep.
I get it; it's a ticky-tack call, and most
And it's
fans
stupid,
don't think.
but-
but it's also
but-
been a thing for a while, and NFL players
Exactly.
should know it by now.
And Cooper, this is what his second, third year.
Second
He is
year,
fully aware by now. So, look,
I will
week
say there was one. I hate arguing with penalties. Right, the refs control the game. They're supposed to keep the speed of the game and enforce rules. But holding on a defensive lineman on an interior run play, come on, man.
That one was stupid. That one was
Like, come on, man.
Rough one. That's a rough one.
I still don't get it. Why? Like, how? Like, why would he even? What does he gain from that if he does? Like,
All right.
he gains nothing.
You're right. Now let's burn some sage. Let's exercise some demons. Okay. Is there anything else bad that we have to vet about this game? Anything? Final thoughts about this game? Anything at all?
move on.
No,
All right.
That's it.
I will final. Nope, I'm final thoughting.
Okay.
Okay,
Go.
final thought it. Go.
Is this where we play the Jeopardy music?
So Jared,
No,
Jared
I'm final
wanted to
thought.
final think it in real
Physical.
time.
I actually final thought it.
Okay.
We talked about at the beginning. Moving on, we're going to move on from this, but we got to clean up lots of stuff. Penalties and fumbles, and those are two things that we can clean up that are self-inflicted issues. We could have won this game 35-17 after the half, and we didn't. Self-inflicted penalties and self-inflicted the fumbles, the play calls. Again, new coaching staff, new quarterback. Eventually, it's going to come better. Those are my final thoughts. Clear the air.
Okay. Really? So it's early, right? Early in the season. We can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's
We didn't
like it's
win.
end of season at this point.
We didn't win early in the season, but there is a way for you guys out there to win early. The NFL's opening week was action packed, and it's getting it started. It's just getting started. Get ready for week 2. Touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. Want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. This Sunday, bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Here's what you do to get in on this. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details.
That was beautiful, Kevin.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I appreciate it. Hey, so for those of you that don't know, we are also recording this episode for the post-game podcast. So if you guys want to go check that out, download us, follow us, and subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're listening to that podcast, make sure you guys are using Raycon wireless earbuds while you guys are listening to the and post-game podcast. Guys, me and David had a great pre-game podcast where we talked about a lot of this stuff, and some of it came to fruition other than the win for Denver. Honestly, if we score on those 2 touchdowns, Dave, I think we're right 100% of the time. Yeah. We're right there. But listen, if you guys are listening with your Raycon wireless earbuds, you guys are going to hear the whole thing, and it's going to be nice and clear. Look, Raycon's everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever with optimized gel tips and perfect in-ear fit. These earbuds are comfortable, and they will not budge. Trust me. Raycon gives you 8 hours of playtime on one charge and a 32-hour battery life. Raycons are priced just right. You get the quality audio at half the price of our other premium audio brands. It's no wonder Raycon's everyday earbuds have over 50,000 5-star reviews. All right, so there's big parts about this, right? 3 customizable sound profiles, earbud tap functions, noise isolation, and awareness modes. All those are additional features on your earbuds. So here's what you got to do. Go to buyraycon.com today. Use the promo code TPPN15 to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's TPPN15 at buyraycon.com to score 15% off your buyraycon.com code TPPN15.
Boom.
Get them Raycon buds.
Here you go. Brad, thanks for joining, Brad. Jared has a voice and a head for radio. Perfect.
You know, growing up, my friends always told me, including David, I had a face for radio. So I really do appreciate that, Brad. Yeah, thank you.
Also made fun of his pigeon feet. He did not care for that at all. Yeah.
I thought we were over that, David.
No, we're never over it, Jared. We're never over it.
With that being said, guys, it is time to start looking forward to week 2, the Broncos home opener. It is going to be fantastic. So we're going to break down some things. I do want to open it up with this question because this was news that was broke today from whoever our Facebook user is. We can't see your name. Sorry about that, but appreciate you tuning in. Do you think the O-line will survive Quinn Minor's injury? It is reported that with a hamstring injury, he's reported to be out about 4 weeks. So we'll see what that looks like. But what are your guys' concerned with that?
Wait, did that happen in the game?
Yep.
Yeah. Graham Glasgow was in there from
Cliff's,
like this first half on.
Cliff's broke it.
Yeah, and then completely missed the block on the. We'll get there later though.
No, we got there already. We're past it now. We're as past it as that linebacker was past Graham Glasgow.
Wow, I love it.
Boom,
all right.
Got him. All right.
I love you boys. I love you guys.
Yes. So Quinn Miners will be out for 4 weeks, guys. We do, I think, have one of the better swing guards in the league, if that's a thing, as far as Graham Glasgow goes. He is a step back, I think, in terms of athleticism from Quinn Miners, which is really weird to say considering the mental picture we all have of Quinn Miners and that enormous gut. But, if you've seen any training camp photos or any kind of footage of Quinn Miners this year, the gut's gone. And he is, one of the guards they were really counting on this season. So, 4 weeks for him. Glasgow's going to be in there. I think his pass protection is going to hold up. We'll see if they can get him to do some of the more athletic outside zone stuff that this offense likes to do in the run game. But, that's at least what Graham Glasgow had been doing with this team under Mike Munchak. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that's going to be a big deal, or do you think the Broncos will weather that?
I think it's 2 parts. One is the big part about this new coaching staff and getting time with the ones. And if he hasn't been getting time with the ones, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for him. But he's going to get it this week on the shortened week. And we'd like to hope that he gets there. Now, the one thing we have about Graham Glasgow is he's used to working with the guys on either side of him, right? He's been a starter for us for the last, 3 years? I think we drafted him 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And,
he was a free agent, but 2 or 3 years.
Oh, he's free agent, yeah. So 2 or 3 years ago, he's playing with these guys next to him, so he should be picking it up pretty quick. In the new system, it might be a little bit difficult, but I don't think this is something we talked about earlier in the year, guys. Like, I think our guard situation is actually probably one of our most depth positions, surprisingly, on the entire team. Between wide receiver and guard, I think those are where we have the most depth, and so I'm not super worried about it. Maybe our tackle situation, we lose a couple tackles. I might be a little worried, but I think having Glasgow step in for Miners, especially since it's 4 weeks, it would be good.
Oh, speaking of our tackle situation, shout out Cam Fleming for playing a very good game as a kind of a spot start there at right tackle. Was not a problem in any way.
And he only had 1 penalty.
Yep, right. And we say that's it was a bad penalties night all around, but for a guy who last year I don't think anybody really even wanted Cam Fleming to make the roster. But he played really well considering.
He did.
Mm-hmm. And so all right, and I'll transitioning into the rest of this Texans game a little bit. And what's up, JC? Thanks for coming in.
Sweet.
Yep, fixed it. So what do you guys think? I personally think, and listen to the pregame podcast for more information about this, but I think it's a really good matchup for Denver. And I know they played Indianapolis really well last week, and the two teams tied, but I see the Texans on a little bit of a similar level to Seattle. And and that means I see the Broncos cleaning up some things going into this week, but I do think they're going to clean those things up. And I think it's going to be a lot closer to the game we should have seen against Seattle, not the game we actually ended up seeing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, looking at the next week's matchup, they're predicting Denver to win 77.6 to 22.2. And yeah, I think it's going to be, should be a much easier game for Denver as long as we clean up the penalties. We clean up, for the love of God, the fumbling. All that stuff is correctable. All that stuff is teachable. And as long as, Nathaniel Hackett doesn't try to go for another 65. Well, you know what? I mean, he's in Denver. Fuck it. Go for it. 65er. Let's get the record. Wait, what is the record? Is it 66?
I think it is 64.
I think it's 64 in Denver.
Is it 64?
Shit,
or
let's go
65.
66. We're at home.
Yeah.
I mean, only if
We're
we're
not
up
in
by
that
30
situation
points.
again.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's go
If
up.
we're up by
Shout out-
30 points, fuck it. Go for 66. Fine.
Hey, and shout out to JC for joining our stream. He's a part of the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast.
Yeah,
Make sure you guys check them out. Give them a follow as well. I know a couple of their guys have followed us and join our stream from time to time. So thanks again for stopping in, JC. Appreciate it.
All of the Mile High Roundtable guys are awesome. So check that podcast out.
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
But
So-
yeah, look, guys,
so on-
go for it, Jared.
I was going to say on Rob's point here, the Broncos are 10-point favorites. Now, we're going to start back up Ragers here soon. I would not take that based on what we saw, but you could take it if you want. Again, if you look at if we put the ball in the red zone every time we get there, then yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit until we can figure out our woes here in the red zone.
Is it still 10 points? That was the line before last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy
10
to me.
point.
That's insane
Yeah.
to me. Okay.
Over under
10-point spread.
Okay. Good luck if you bet that
So-
over. I hope
Yeah.
you get it. Or I hope you get it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think this game has a lot of potential for us to kind of have a bounce back game and a homecoming a little bit at that too. I think we need to have a win in Broncos the stadium there, because I think we can't afford to lose 2 in a row right now. Not that it'll change anything. I think this big game coming home is going to be good for us.
Look, it was an away game in a tough crowd. Not to just make up excuses, right? But it kind of is the fact of the matter. No preseason, a lot of nerves for some guys. I think Washington and some of his kick returns, you could tell like he kind of just froze a couple of times. I think he was just nervous. It was just, even though he got all that preseason time, it's different when it's the big game. It's the first actual game. So there's some nerves there. And so, there's still going to be some growing pains, guys. It's not going to be totally cleaned up week 2, guarantee it. But coming home to Denver and as many mistakes as we did in one game, man, you're getting a lot of it out of the way really early. So, I don't expect there to be nearly as many as penalties. That's a huge one right there. I expect tackling to be a whole lot cleaner. That's going to be a huge help right there. So just cleaning up a few of those things could have totally swung this last game in a different direction for us. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen in this week 2 matchup. I do not see us losing this week. Victor says, please no predictions from us. If you want to hear our predictions, you can tune into the pregame tailgate talk, which I think possibly Jared will be doing this week since I'll be at the game. And we'll share our score predictions then and everything. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, guys.
Pre-game podcast.
All right, so hey, you asked me if I had any other gripes from the game. I do have one more gripe, and I'm going to say that I think we're going to fix it in this next game. Why did we only run the ball 25% of the time when we're getting 5.2 yards per carry?
I did see that, yeah.
And Javante Williams only had 7 touches.
in general, both those running backs were running very, very well every time they touched the ball. Both of them were running very well every time they touched the ball, and we still passed for 42 times, and only ran the ball. So less than a quarter. We only ran the ball 20 times. So less than a quarter of the time we were running. I think Wilson. It's going to be hard for Wilson to get 5 sacks as he plays quarterback. Just kidding. I get where you're getting at there. 5 sacks over 100 yards rushing. I hope. Again, that's so I kind of read that and I see it. I hope we get over 100 yards rushing. I think we need to feed the running backs a little bit more and balance this offense out, because I think Russell Wilson, while he's a great quarterback, he needs some help in the run game and to establish the run game. We had a run game established, but we got to stick with it. We can't only run 20 times. It just doesn't work like that.
No.
In the words of Sandra Bullock from The Blind Side, run the dang ball.
Run the dang ball.
Yes.
There it is. Now, even with that, the Broncos broke 100 yards rushing this game. They had over 400 yards of total offense. It's just like we're talking about we're just ignoring some of these stats that we haven't had to talk about.
Yeah. 433 yards of total offense.
Yeah.
He still passed for 330 yards.
When's the last time the Broncos had over 400 yards of offense in a game?
I mean, you can't. And we also had a 50-plus yard touchdown for the first time since 2020. So I think, there's so much to build on in this game, and I think that we're going to see so much more good coming out of that Texans game, like you guys would say.
Yeah. You got 2 home games in a row. Mm-hmm. The second one is obviously the week 3 matchup, the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. So this will be a good get-right game, feel better, build some confidence heading into that game at home against the 49ers, which could be a huge jumping off point, not to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm saying this is this is the perfect time to build up and take the lessons you learned from week 1 and just kind of boom, really just
apply,
go for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A very odd hot take would be that after the London game, when we hit our bye week, we could be 7-1. Just saying.
I mean,
we're not mathematically eliminated from 7-1. That's for
now,
sure.
Now, granted, in that stretch, we've got a game against the Raiders and the Chargers, and the Chargers looked good.
Yeah, they tried a Raider. They tried a Charger at the end of the game, though.
They did try to Charger. Yeah, they did their best Charger option.
They were both trying to lose there at the end of the game. It just kind of So.
But I'm just saying, there's a possibility we could hit our bye week 7-1, and that's a hot streak that I'm willing to take.
Oh, I think we'd all be willing.
Time, but it's but for the first time we're seeing glimpses of an offense that it's not like, oh, this is the best they can do. This is wow, wait till these guys get on the same level. Wait till there's a real trust connection between Wilson and the receivers. Let them, build up their confidence in the scheme and the play calls and the communication. Holy crap. This could actually, be really special by midseason. That's what I was saying earlier. Don't evaluate this team really until November timeframe, where you can say, okay, now this offense is clicking. What do we have here in a team moving forward?
And like I said before, in Russ we trust.
In Russ we trust. That's right. Jared hasn't kicked me off the show yet tonight. I always try to do it at least once. If there's something
that was close.
That was close. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we are going to wrap it up here soon. I do want to remind you of all of the awesome content we have. Don't forget, though, first off, as soon as this show to Maricela, wait, I got to pull this up. No.
She doesn't want the husband back. She wants, it's fine.
Is that what that is? She doesn't want the husband back? Okay, well, I got good news for you guys. As soon as this show is over, give me 5 minutes or so, not even 2-3 minutes. We will be live on our YouTube page for the Orange Weekly Backstage Show, where we just get to hang out with you guys, talk about random crap. We could talk about football, but we could also talk about whatever else is going on. So join us on our YouTube page for the Orange Weekly Backstage Show right after this. The link is scrolling below your screen right now, so you can't say, I don't know where to find you guys, because it's right there. We also
YouTube.com/C/Orange Weekly Podcast.
Perfect. Thank you, Jared. We also got starting next Monday, Orange Weekly After Dark, 8 p.m. Mountain Time with with Jason and myself. Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, this show right here, Bourbon Broncos No BS, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You can count on us to be live then. We also got the pregame podcast and the postgame podcast. And actually, I didn't really say it this way, but Jared and David, you're on the postgame podcast right now. So
Yeah, you guys. You needed us on the.
You needed the
podcast.
support.
No,
I get it.
I get it.
I tricked you. I
understand.
It was a trick, all right.
But we got the pregame podcast, we got the postgame podcast. You guys can check those out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Google Play. I think I said that twice. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are there. Check us out. And then game days, of course, we have our tailgate talk, which starts about 1 hour before game time. You can enter for a prize for some awesome Broncos swag and Orange Weekly swag by entering your score predictions. If the Broncos win and your score prediction is right, you win some awesome swag from us. But make sure you join us for the tailgate talk for that. And then halftime hash. We are the original live halftime show. As soon as halftime starts, pick up your phone, go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever, and join us for that and share your thoughts on the first half of the game. Okay, time for some closing thoughts. David, I'll start with you, man. What's on your mind?
Well, I first have one more shameless plug, and it's for myself.
Yes, I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all right. This week, I am debuting a new column for Orange Weekly. It is called The View from Section 506. One fan's perspective from the cheap seats. Guys, it's really just my observations and thoughts from the game, what I saw. There's not a lot of fancy advanced stats. You're not going to need a subscription to sign in and read it. Just pass your eyes over it and let me know what you think. The article is written. It's not live on the website yet, but once it is, we will have that up on Twitter. So please make sure you're following us on Twitter either way, whether you read it or not. And then once we get it up there, just click on that link and let me know what you think. Now
that rhymed. That rhymed. That was great. I like that. I like that end there. That was great.
That was good. Before your plug, really quickly, once again, Clayton with more stars.
With the stars again,
stars sent to us.
Throwing the stars around.
Boom.
You're our
one of our number one fans right now. Boom. We love you, dude. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
Not to say we don't love the other fans, but definitely appreciate your support.
We appreciate everything.
Right now, Clayton is
We love you all equally, except for the people that give us stars. Clayton, we love you more. I said it.
That's it. No backseats.
David.
No backseats. Now, guys.
David, nope. I'm going to have to cut you off because we have a very special guest here in the studio. Not hungover Ayla.
Not even a little bit
hungover for a few minutes here and share her thoughts. She was at the game. So, Ayla, what is up?
I'm not still at the game?
No.
I don't know where I am. What's going on?
There's a reason Ayla's not hungover because
I was about to say.
She's just
I was about to say you can't be hungover if you're still drinking.
No. At this point, she might die from the hangover, so you just got to keep it rolling. You just got to go. I get it. I get it. We've been there. We've all been there.
Keep those wheels spinning, and eventually you'll get somewhere. Apparently, is what they say. As the slogan goes, if you don't stop, you can't stop.
Oh. I didn't know
everybody
that was
knows the saying. Everybody knows the saying.
I'm pretty sure they made a song about that.
If you don't stop, you can't stop. Yes.
You can't stop. If you won't stop, don't stop.
Hi, Clayton. What up?
It's the smash.
Can't stop, won't stop. Get it. Man, the game.
Ayla, you going to be at backstage with us? Ayla, you going to be at backstage?
I thought that's where I was trying to get, but I'm glad that I'm here now.
Not yet.
Perfect. This is even better. This is even better. Still drunk Ayla. Hold on. We got to announce this.
I thought I was
still drunk Ayla thought she clicked on the wrong link.
Are you in your own apartment right now? Are you at home, or did you just wander into somebody else's house and they were just like they're going with it?
At this point, I don't know, and that's okay.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I want to let Ayla derail this as much as possible. But let's
share your thoughts on the game.
We
Ayla,
should do that.
Go back to David and Rob and Jared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
this is great.
It was a tough one.
The hangover or the game?
Yes.
All of it. No, literally, like the Seattle fan, we were in section 113. I thought it was lucky 113, but apparently not. I'm not allowed to go to games anymore.
Yeah,
Not away games.
We
Not away
lose every game I go to, but
No, you're good.
no, it was electrifying. It was fun. Broncos country represented in Seattle. We had a sick meetup pre-prep party the day before, hosted by the Seattle Bronco fans at this cool Broncos bar. Got to, take a selfie with Steve Atwater. Miles was there.
Awesome.
We had all this stuff, but the game itself was, we were like so close so many times. That was the disappointing part. It was like, go, go, go. Oh, shit. And even the Seattle fans were looking at us when I was like, oh, penalty. And they're like, yeah, we saw that. It wasn't a penalty. They just, it killed us. I do think I'll blame no pregame. This was the warm up. And Russell, that had to have hurt his heart a little bit, man. That was his home for 10 years, and they were booing him so loud, you guys.
Oh man,
so loud. Like, it was louder than, like, you think and you've all been to the Denver games. It was incredible. But
big time question from Boggins here.
Yeah, he said he's not joking. He probably heard you. He's probably been watching this whole time, being like, as soon as you said section 113, he was like, son of a.
Yes, and that was yeah, no. I do that. I don't even lose my voice ever. That's why I can scream so loudly.
It's well
Never
lubricated.
lost my voice. I guess so.
What? Backstage
Alcohol.
Oh yeah.
It was still a ton of fun, and I think we've got a lot to go off of. There was a lot of positives, even in a win or in a loss. Like, we're still look at this, you guys.
Oh,
there we go. That was me. I was screaming bloody.
Yeah. That is 100% Ayla. That was 100% Ayla. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm like I'm in the tailgate party videos. You can just hear me like, woo.
Mr. Boggins.
I'm telling you, last 10 minutes of this.
Yeah,
last 10 minutes of this podcast has just been excellent. I can't.
Straight fire. Mr. Boggins, one of the, I would say, the luminaries of Broncos Twitter. Definitely worth a follow if you guys don't follow him. But you guys, you've now met one of the Orange Weekly members in person, Mr. Boggins. That's
at least you heard me.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. When Ayla's around, you're gonna hear her.
I don't doubt this.
Screamed like she was on fire, and everybody turned and looked at her.
Yeah, that's Ayla.
I literally don't doubt this in any shape or form. Yeah,
it couldn't be anybody else.
Yeah, I
Broncos
do have the death scream. It's a little scary, but it's effective apparently. If everybody looked at me, so
Broncos fans.
Good job, me.
Not just everybody. You attracted your fellow Broncos fans' attention, and that's the important.
That's the important part. People knew you were there, and I think that's really what it comes down to. It
was a Broncos war cry, is what it was.
Yeah.
Hey,
screeching war cry.
Let's get ready for the backstage. But David, we still have some closing thoughts from the rest of you. So David, how about you, bud?
All right. Now, listen, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. For a minute there last night, I transitioned back into Dead Inside. But just for a minute.
Oh, okay.
We were there for it.
Yeah.
We were there for it. I called you out. It's because I called you out, and you were like, you know what? Yeah, I am. And then you pulled yourself out of it.
Yeah, it was great. But it was great because now I'm out. And I see with a whole new perspective today. I got some sleep. I cried really hard. And now we're feeling good again. The Texans are coming up. I think they've got to turn, if they turn one or two plays from that Seattle game around in the Texans game, if they turn one play around, they win the game. If they turn two plays around, they win the game by 2 scores. So, it's going to be, they've just got to clear up a couple of things to make this a winning football team. I think they're going to do it this week. There's reasons to be excited. There's a lot of reasons for optimism. Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's ride. Rob, what you got?
I only said that 77 times.
Yeah.
We have to post your video. You got to give us permission to post your video on Instagram and Twitter. That was the most sober Ayla. Great, like you and Miles. Like Miles can't make facial expressions, but you could tell he was getting frustrated.
Yep.
Like,
I had to do it multiple times, just like Russell, every time. Like, okay, sorry.
I think at one point he put his hands on his hips, like.
Well, there's a different one where I did a high kick and he caught my leg. He liked me.
Everybody likes you. We've been over this.
Yeah.
So my final thoughts, again, we're getting past it. Yes, I was super frustrated, super pissed off, but everything's going to be okay. Like the GOAT, Peyton Manning himself had said, the Denver Broncos are going to be just fine. Looking forward to a bounce back game against Houston. Kevin, I'm super jealous you're going to be there. I can't wait to start seeing the chemistry really come together. Russ and Court, Russ and Judy, Russ and Hamler. And, I just want to see – I want to see Javante Williams just go off and just run people over. Mm-hmm. He runs just pissed off, and I love it, and I can't wait to see more. And I guess we should just keep it going, Kevin. So Broncos country, let's ride.
I love it. Jared, the pressure's on you, good sir. Over to you.
He won't say it.
Nope.
Peer pressure.
Like
absolutely not
in the stadium for the wave. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, David's a weirdo about the wave.
I won't.
This is how David watches football games in the stadium.
That tracks. Yeah, that tracks. So here's what I got. I kind of said most of it. We're in the beginnings of a new era of Denver Broncos, and we have a lot of we're gonna launch. We have a lot of great things that we're looking forward to. Let's think about this. One, we should have beat that team because we had so many mistakes that any good team would not have allowed us to stay in that game. So there's a lot of things that we have to clean up. There's a lot. And it's not just one or two. We named a lot of them. So there's a lot of things we got to clean up, and we got to clean them up quick. So to pull us down a little bit off our high horse of we can go 7-1. Well, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. We got to clean those things up now. The tackling, the fumbles, the red zone offense for some reason, the penalties. Like there's a lot of things that we got to clean up, and hopefully we clean that up quick. I think luckily for us, we have Houston coming to town. Where we could make a few of those mistakes and still be in the game. I just don't think once we start getting into some of these divisional games, the AFC West is strong. Don't do it, Kevin. With AFC West is strong, and there's a lot of good things that we can do. But when we start playing the AFC West teams, there's just no way that we can make these mistakes and still be in this game. It's just not going to happen. So we have a couple games that we can get into to fix these mistakes. We'll get there. I think we win against the Texans at home. Nathaniel Hackett gets his first win. We kind of get that monkey off the back, and then we move forward to the rest of the year. That's really all I got. And let's go Broncos country.
Anyway, okay, guys.
Kill the momentum, Jared.
Great stuff from everyone. That Jared, Rob, David. Not hungover Ayla, thanks for joining us here at the end, even though it's only because you clicked the wrong link. Definitely still appreciate you hopping in. To everybody who's been watching, definitely appreciate your support. Remember, we're going to keep doing this for as long as you guys keep watching us. So
you know what, you guys, and let's quote Russell at the end of this. Yeah. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So even if we come out of the gates a little wonky, we got time.
Well, let's look. I'd like that. Okay, without the last part, I think this is super important to remember. Remember when Seattle won the Super Bowl? They were like 1-4 or something to start the season. Yeah, I know a lot of people blacked out. Not just that day. We all blacked out that day. We talked about it on the pregame podcast. Do you not remember? It's like, nope, none of us do. We don't remember that day. But the rest of it, getting to the Super Bowl, they kind of start off rough. I would rather have the going at the end and get together and get the things going at the end of the season. But you're right. Game 1, let's not think about that kind of stuff. It's still early in the season. Stay focused.
It sucks, but here's one way to look at it that I'm trying to keep in my head. You are watching a team develop, and when this team actually gets good, really, really good, on fire good, you're going to look back and say, man, those guys came a long way, so it is frustrating. Yeah. I get it. It's frustrating. Losing sucks, but you're going to see this team, improve and just, we're going to look back on this and say, man, it was awesome to see this team build and the way they've improved. So, and I really, really, truly believe that's the direction this team is going. So we are on to week 2. Texans are coming to town. Broncos are going to be at home for the first time this year. Russ is going to run out of that tunnel, as they call out his name as the Broncos quarterback. The stadium.
Wait till he feels that. Like, that was such a wild game to throw into, go crazy. For the first one. But, wait till he won't have
He got all the boos back at Seattle. Denver is going to welcome him properly. We are going to love him when he comes out of that tunnel. So, anyway,
Ayla,
well said, Ayla. Anyway, guys,
I got all the words. I got the
It's beautiful.
We're going to get Ayla to click the correct link for the
we're going to get her on the backstage. If she's not there, it's because she's passed out somewhere in the gutter.
I mean, she's passed out on her keyboard. That's what it means.
Yeah, that too. Anyway. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. We'll be live here in just a few minutes on our YouTube channel for the Orange Weekly Backstage Show. Otherwise, guys, we'll see you later this week for the pregame podcast and all the pregame shows and everything. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, let's ride. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No.
Oh, wait. No, that's not it. No, yeah.
Go Broncos.
Yes. Okay. As always, we end the show on a very strong...
Go
Broncos.
Take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, do what I like, yeah, do what I like. Sipping goes, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.